The scent of unfamiliar perfume lingered in the air as Mark Collins blinked awake, his mind struggling to piece together the events of last night. That's when he saw her, Elise Harrington, the intimidating CEO of Harrington Enterprises, standing in his kitchen wearing nothing but his faded college t-shirt, her slender fingers wrapped around a coffee mug. Their eyes met, and the words that left her lips would change his life forever. "I think I'm falling in love with your family." If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that will tug at your heartstrings. Your support means everything to us. Mark had never expected his life to intersect with someone like Elise. At 34, he was just trying to keep his head above water, raising his 7-year-old daughter Lily after his wife's death 3 years ago. Their modest 2-bedroom apartment in the suburbs was a far cry from Elise's penthouse overlooking the city skyline. Their unlikely connection had begun 6 weeks earlier on a rainy Tuesday. Mark had been rushing Lily to school, already late for his shift at the architectural firm where he worked as a mid-level designer. The coffee shop door had swung open just as they passed, and Elise had emerged, distracted by her phone call. The collision sent her coffee splashing across her cream-colored blouse and designer suit. "I'm so sorry," Mark had stammered, mortified as he fumbled for napkins. Lily had looked up at the tall woman with wide eyes. "You look like a princess, even with coffee on you." Instead of the anger Mark expected, Elise's stern expression had softened as she looked at Lily with her missing front tooth and rain-dampened pigtails. "Thank you, sweetheart. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all week." What followed was a series of chance encounters that seemed too consistent to be coincidence. Elise appeared at the park where Mark took Lily on Saturdays, claiming she jogged that route regularly. She showed up at the small art gallery where one of Mark's architectural designs was being featured. Then finally, she'd been straightforward, asking Mark for coffee, admitting she'd been finding reasons to run into them. Their worlds couldn't have been more different. Elise ran a tech empire with thousands of employees, made decisions that affected millions of dollars daily, and moved through life with calculated precision. Mark's days revolved around school drop-offs, bedtime stories, and trying to advance his career while being both mother and father to Lily. Last night had been their 5th date. Mark had cooked dinner after Lily went to bed at her grandmother's house. 1 glass of wine had turned to 2, conversation had flowed easily, and the tension between them had finally broken in a kiss that led them to his bedroom. Now, standing in his kitchen the next morning, Elise's words hung in the air between them. Not just falling for him, falling for his family. "What did you say?" Mark's voice was barely above a whisper. Elise set down her coffee mug, suddenly looking vulnerable despite being one of the most powerful women in the city. "I know it's fast. Probably too fast. But I've never felt this way before. It's not just you, Mark. It's the way you are with Lily. It's the life you've built. It's everything I never knew I wanted." Mark's mind raced. His daughter was everything to him, his world, his responsibility. Letting someone into their carefully balanced life wasn't a decision he could make lightly. And someone like Elise? Someone whose life operated on a completely different plane of existence? "Elise, my life is complicated. I'm a package deal with a 7-year-old who still cries for her mother sometimes. I work overtime to make ends meet. I can't jet off to Tokyo for business meetings or attend charity galas. That's not my world." She stepped closer, her usual confidence replaced by something more tentative. "I know who you are, Mark. That's exactly who I'm falling for. Not someone who fits into my world, someone who's shown me a different one." The sound of keys in the front door broke the moment. Mark's mother-in-law, Sandra, was bringing Lily home earlier than expected. Panic flashed across his face. How would he explain Elise's presence to his daughter? Elise squeezed his hand. "I should go. We can talk later." But before she could move toward the bedroom to change, Lily burst into the kitchen, her face lighting up at the sight of the woman she'd met several times now. "Miss Elise. Did you come for breakfast? Daddy makes the best pancakes on Sundays. Mark watched, frozen, as his daughter launched herself at Elise for a hug, completely unfazed by her presence or attire. Sandra appeared in the doorway behind Lily, her eyebrows raised in silent question as she took in the scene. To Mark's surprise, Elise knelt down to Lily's level, still wearing his shirt. "I'd love pancakes, if that's okay with your dad." The weeks that followed weren't easy. Mark struggled with the imbalance between their lives, the way restaurant staff fawned over Elise, the paparazzi photos that appeared online speculating about her new mystery man, the whispers at his office when people realized who he was dating. Their first major argument came when Elise offered to pay for Lily to attend an exclusive private school. Mark's pride had flared hot and defensive. "I don't need you to rescue us," he'd said, the words sharper than intended. "We're not a charity case." Elise's eyes had flashed with hurt. "That's not how I see you at all. Is that what you think of me? That I'm just playing house with you and Lily?" They'd separated for a week after that, the longest 7 days of Mark's life. He'd realized during that time that his fear wasn't about Elise's money or status. It was about letting someone else into the fragile ecosystem he'd created after losing his wife. It was about the possibility of Lily getting attached, only to be hurt again if things didn't work out. It was Lily who had brought them back together, asking repeatedly when they would see Miss Elise again, finally demanding to know if they'd had a fight, like Mia and Jackson did at school before they became best friends again. The reconciliation had led to deeper understanding. Elise had opened up about her own fears, of being wanted only for what she could provide, of never finding someone who saw beyond her title and bank account. Of building an empire but coming home to an empty penthouse every night. 6 months into their relationship, Mark woke up once again to find Elise in his kitchen. This time, she wasn't just wearing his shirt, she was making pancakes with Lily, both of them covered in flour, giggling as they tried to flip the misshapen creations in the pan. "Daddy! Elise is teaching me her grandma's secret recipe," Lily called out when she spotted him. Elise turned, a smudge of flour on her cheek, looking nothing like the polished CEO who commanded boardrooms. "I hope that's okay. She was up early, and you were sleeping so peacefully." In that moment, watching the two of them together, Mark felt the last of his reservations melt away. This wasn't about their different worlds anymore. They were creating a new one together. That evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Mark took Elise's hand as they sat on the small balcony of his apartment, the city lights twinkling below them. "Move in with us," he said simply. Elise's eyes widened. "Here? But Mark, your apartment is small? Not what you're used to." He smiled. "I know. But it's home. At least for now. We can figure out the rest together." Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. "Yes. Yes, I'd love that." The adjustment wasn't without challenges. Elise had to learn the rhythm of school mornings and bedtime routines. Mark had to get used to the constant calls and emails that sometimes interrupted family time. Lily had questions about whether Elise was going to be her new mom, questions that were difficult to navigate with a child's understanding of love and loss. A year into their relationship, they bought a house together, not a mansion in Elise's neighborhood, but not Mark's small apartment either. Something in between, with a yard for Lily and a home office for Elise. Mark proposed on the day they moved in, no grand gesture, just a quiet moment in their new kitchen, surrounded by unpacked boxes. "I never thought I'd find love again," he told her, holding out the modest ring he'd saved for months to buy. "I never thought I'd want to. But you didn't just join our family, you made it whole again." Elise, the woman known for her composure and quick thinking in any business crisis, was speechless. When she finally found her voice, her answer was simple: "You and Lily are the best decision I never planned to make." Their wedding was small, just family and close friends in the backyard of their new home. Lily served as flower girl and best daughter, as she insisted on being called. During the ceremony, Elise surprised them both by including special vows to Lily, kneeling down to her level. "I promise to never try to replace your mom, but to always be here for you. To listen to your stories, to cheer at your games, to help with homework, and to love you and your dad with all my heart." 3 years after that coffee shop collision, their family had expanded to include a baby brother for Lily. Elise had restructured her company to allow for more family time, and Mark had started his own architectural firm with her encouragement and support. The journey hadn't been perfect. They'd navigated criticism from those who thought Elise was slumming it, or that Mark was a gold digger. They'd worked through Mark's lingering guilt about moving on after his first wife, and Elise's workaholic tendencies that sometimes pulled her away from family moments. But on Sunday mornings, when they all piled into the king-sized bed with pancakes and cartoons, none of those challenges seemed to matter. They had built something neither of them had been looking for, a family formed not from obligation or expectation, but from choice and love. So when people asked how a single dad and a female CEO had ever made it work, Mark always thought back to that morning he'd found Elise in his kitchen wearing his shirt. The moment when she'd admitted she was falling in love not just with him, but with the family they could become. Sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful journeys. And sometimes, the family you never planned for becomes the one you can't imagine living without. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that celebrates love, family, and second chances. Share in the comments if you've ever found love in an unexpected place. We'd love to hear your stories too.